Hey, it's Tuesday, and you know what happens around here at Tuesday. We visit with our good friend Ron, the car guy.
The car guy.
Yes, he can.
Thank you very much. I was waiting for the end.
Jackie was having a drink of coffee.
I was. I need a little caffeine kick. Here we
I'll
go.
help you out. I got your back.
There you have it. All right, so Ron, the car guy, what are we here to talk about today?
Well, we're in this kind of takes off kind of where Joe left off last week. You know, he was talking about some things not to ignore, and he touched base a little bit on having warning lights and stuff like that on your car diagnosed. And I just want to touch a little bit today on the difference between free diagnosis and having your car professionally diagnosed, because we run into that on a fairly often basis. People will come in with a check engine light or an ABS light or an airbag light or whatever, a warning light on their vehicle. And as a professional repair shop, there's obviously a cost for us to find out why that's on. And then sometimes what we'll hear is, but I can go to a parts store and get it diagnosed for free.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You can?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no. Some auto parts stores in town offer. They call it a free diagnosis, but it's really not a diagnosis. And I guess that's what I wanted to differentiate the difference between.
Is it the same machine?
No. It's not the same machine. And auto parts stores don't employ ASE certified technicians that are trained on your vehicle. I mean, they're obviously knowledgeable because they work at a parts store. And I'm not throwing them under the bus by any means, but I just wanted to differentiate the difference, because everything on these cars is operated by computers anymore. I mean, we had a Ford in the other day that we could plug our scan tool in under the dash, and we can make the windows go up and down.
No way.
Yeah, everything's tied into the computer on a car anymore.
Wow.
So I mean, we're running the windows, the brakes, the air conditioning, is all run electronically. So we're seeing more and more problems that require computer and electronic interface and testing, rather than the old school where I started out with a voltmeter and a test light.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there was only 2 or 3 things that it could be. So if you were stuck, you could kind of guess sometimes and had a pretty good chance. Exactly. So I guess the biggest difference is the places that will offer a free diagnosis. What they're typically doing is they're reading a code that's in the car's computer. So whenever anything related to the electronic system has a problem or acts up, the computer will store service information in there, and it will store what we call a code. And for somewhere between $40 and $60, you can go buy a little handheld code reader that'll plug in under the dash, and it will tell you, hey, this car has a P0301 code.
All right.
And then you can look up, or sometimes the code reader will tell you what that code stands for. So let's say, Jackie, you bring your car in, and the check engine light's on, and it's running kind of sluggish, and it's got a code in there for one of the oxygen sensors not functioning properly. That's where the free testing, that's where that code reader ends. It stops there and says, hey, Jackie, one of your oxygen sensors isn't providing a correct reading. Well, that doesn't mean the oxygen sensor's bad. You could buy a sensor and take a gamble and put it in, and it may or may not fix the car. Mm-hmm. But where it goes from there is, in a professional repair shop, I mean, instead of a $39 code reader, we've got a laptop, and it's got factory software loaded on it, so we're able to actually talk to the computer and see what's going on. And the computer in that particular case is seeing an incorrect signal from an oxygen sensor, but there could be a broken wire. There could be a poor electrical connection. There's no code for, hey, your car is a broken wire. The computer doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. There could be a gasket that's leaking, causing a vacuum leak, so it's drawing extra air into the engine, making the fuel ratio be off. There's no vacuum leak code.
It points you towards the direction of where you should look, but doesn't give you the exact
Absolutely. You look at it like the roof on your house. I mean, you go up into the attic and you can see the staining. Okay, that's the area where it's leaking, but is it the shingle? Is it a seam? Is it the vent stack going through there? Mm-hmm. Then you actually have to go up and determine what's going on. So the biggest difference is you can pull a code and it will say, hey, there's a problem in the throttle position sensor circuit. That doesn't mean you have a bad sensor. Now, if you're a gambling type of person, bolt a sensor out and see if it takes care of it. If it does, great. But then if it doesn't, then somebody with a better equipment and more training has to go in and figure out what the problem is. And in that particular case, now you wasted money on a part that you didn't need. Mm-hmm. And so that's
and
really...
then a lot of times, once you bolt these things on, they're yours.
Oh, you own it.
You own it.
Yeah.
You can't take it back.
We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't.
If you take it out, put it in your car, they're not. I'm like, this wasn't the problem.
No, if you install it, it's yours.
Yeah. We're in the same boat too. I mean, and we're human beings.
Right.
Even though we've got the right test equipment and the training and stuff, we've been wrong. We're going to be wrong again in the future. But yeah, we own that part. And so it's whether or not you want to take a gamble, but retrieving a service code from a computer is only the first step. I mean, that's not actually diagnosing the car, but some people think it is, or they alleviate to that, and so that's the difference between free and what it actually paying someone to do it. It's like anything. I can't go out and buy a laptop and load $2,000 or $3,000 worth of software on it, and then pay someone that's a master tech to spend a half hour or an hour finding out what your problem is and not charge for that.
Right.
I mean, no business is going to survive.
Right.
And so even repair shops that offer free diagnosis, if you have it repaired there. I mean, a lot of times they'll wrap that into the cost of the repair, the cost of parts and stuff. I mean, not all the time, I suppose, but a lot of times, that's what we've seen when we compare and stuff. So I'd rather just be transparent and tell you what we're doing and what's going on with it.
Well, to be fair, on the other side, then how much would it normally cost to get an actual diagnosis done with a machine that's going to tell you?
That great question. Typically in the Metro Des Moines area, you're going to spend somewhere between $100 and $135. Mm-hmm. I mean, to have some testing done and find out what's going on.
And is that about an hour?
Hour and a half? Yeah, roughly an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how the different shops sell it different ways. I mean, we at Westside Auto Pros we sell it in blocks of testing. We've got a level 1, which is basically reading the code and seeing if there's something obvious. So, for example, sometimes check engine lights will come on if the gas cap's loose.
Right.
Yeah.
So there isn't a code that says, hey, your gas cap's loose. There's a code that says, there's a large leak in the evap system, which is the gasoline vapors. But we know from experience that if we get that code, go back and see if the gas cap's loose. And at that point, if it is, we'll tighten the gas cap, clear it, and say, hey, drive it and see if it comes back on.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You're done.
And I mean, that's not going to be $135 to find that. I mean, that was pretty straightforward.
Right.
But on average, between 100, 135, should find out what's wrong with your car.
Good to know.
So if you have anything going wacky with your vehicle, we want to bring it over to your place, how do we find you?
You can find us at westsiderautopros.com. Or you can call us at 225-9090. Sam did a great job with that graphic.
Yeah,
I like that. It's easy to read.
Do you still have people ask you questions?
We do have people ask us questions, and you can do that through AskRonTheCarGuy.com. That's a website that I've got. You can submit questions, and I answer all questions. They come to me personally.
There you go.
Good job, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
It is 6:53. When we come back, it's totally serious news time, and we're going to let you know